What's up, guys? I'm going to break down week one college football, the games I'm going to bet, the reason I'm going to bet them. I'm not going to give you every detail, but I'm going to tell you how I'm betting them and why I'm betting them. Number one game this week that I love is going to be SMU minus 22 versus Texas State. The over-under is set at 70. I rarely touch the over-under, but once I do bet it over-under, I'll tell you why I'm betting it. SMU's offense was super overpowered last year, almost averaging 500 yards a game. SMU defense wasn't the best, but they were +4 in the turnover battle, so that's always a good thing. SMU offense averaged 5.3 touchdowns a game, and they only gave up 3.8, and they played good competition to give up that 3.8. SMU only allowed 16 rushing touchdowns in 13 games. Now, the reason that's big to me is because if the team gets behind, we know they're going to pass. But at the beginning, the team that's not behind is going to run. Texas State will run. They're going to try to run the ball. They are a huge pass-first team, but they're going to try to run the ball some. SMU is not going to get any yards running on SMU. I'm sorry. SMU and SMU, I might confuse that. Texas State is going to get probably under 50 yards of total rushing in this game. So they're going to have to be passing the whole time. Let's see. Last year they played and SMU won by 30 and SMU had 3 turnovers. The reason that's big is because SMU was +4 in the turnover battle, so they didn't give up the ball much. So them giving up the ball 3 times in this game and still winning by 30, it's a pretty good sign that SMU is going to roll this game. SMU also is averaging 42 points. So if they hit, if they hit just their average of last season at 42, you're telling me that Texas State's going to have 19 points to beat the cover. Texas State's not going to have 19 points. Sorry to tell you. Let's see. SMU is returning 75% of their offense production from 2019. So SMU's offense is going to be rolling. No issues there. They're going to be rolling. Texas State offense, huge passing. They averaged 241 passing yards a game last year and only 77 rushing yards a game. So they're not going to be able to run. Their defense gave up a crap ton of rushing yards. They are horrible against the run. Texas State also had -9 in the turnover battle, which is not a good sign. And so their average was they only averaged 2.8 yards rushing. Texas State offense averaged 2.1 touchdowns. SMU gave up an average of 3.8 touchdowns. So I see them maybe getting 10 points, 14 points at the most. Texas State defense allowed 4.1 touchdowns. I think SMU is going to win by 30. I'm just being blunt here. I think SMU is going to win by 30-34, and the spread is 22. So I'm definitely taking SMU against that game. The weather's going to be cloudy. 20% chance of rain and winds at 8 miles per hour, which shouldn't affect it too much. Moving on to the next one, it's going to be Arkansas State at Memphis. Memphis is currently -19, and the over-under set at 72. I'm loving Memphis in this. Memphis -19. As long as it stays under 21, I am loving Memphis. Arkansas State did have a decent offense last year, not much running. They're a passing team. Arkansas State averaged 3.9 touchdowns per game and allowed 4.2 touchdowns per game. Their schedule wasn't that strong. So knowing that Memphis played the tougher teams last year, Memphis is bringing back a ton. And Memphis in every position is probably going to be better than Arkansas State. It's one reason I'm loving the 19. Arkansas State defense gave up 60.7% passing and 5 yards per rushing attempt. Why is this big? Because Memphis has a quarterback who can throw. Memphis averaged almost 64% passing last year, completion percentage, and 4.7 yards per game rushing. As you can see, I don't think Arkansas State's going to be able to stop Memphis. I think Memphis has to shoot themselves in the foot to punt the ball. I think Memphis could probably run the ball 3 times, first, second, and third down, and get a first down every single time. Memphis averaged almost 300 yards passing last year and almost 187 yards rushing. Let's see. They averaged 4.6 touchdowns and allowed 3 touchdowns. They played much better teams than Arkansas State. Defense only allowed 53% passing. Why is that big? Because Arkansas State is a passing team. So if Memphis can hold Arkansas to that 50% passing completion, I think it's going to be just a beatdown. I think this game might be over at halftime or third quarter. And I think it's going to be a beatdown. Memphis all the way. As long as it stays under 21, I love it. Next game up is going to be South Alabama versus Southern Miss, which is right here. South Alabama averaged 159 yards passing last year and 171 rushing yards per game last year. The defense gave up 217 passing and 192 rushing. South Alabama was -6 in the turnover battle. South Alabama's offense only had 52.8% passing completion percentage and 4 yards per rushing attempt. They allowed almost a touchdown more a game, and this is the big one. This is why I'm loving this game. South Alabama defense allowed almost 65% passing last year. Why is that huge? Because Southern Miss is a huge pass-first team. Southern Miss almost threw for 300 passing yards a game with 118 running yards. So, South Alabama's weakness is secondary. Southern Miss's offense specialty is passing. You got the best and the worst going at it. It's going to be pretty bad. I'm going to get some water. Don't know why. It's going to be pretty bad. I think Southern Miss will throw for over 400 yards. I think South Alabama is not going to get many stops. I don't think South Alabama is going to put up many points. I can see Southern Miss winning in the mid-20s, 24-27. And right now it's at -15. So I'm predicting a 9-point difference between the spread in Vegas and my spread that I would put on the game. When I have that big, I'm going to bet it. So that's my third favorite. Fourth favorite, a lot of people are not feeling this. I'm feeling it, and I'll tell you why. BYU -1.5 versus Navy at Navy. Over/under set at 53. The under looks good in this game. I'm not going to touch the under, though. The reason I'm not going to touch the under is because games when there's normally two good defenses, somehow they score a shit ton of points. So I'm loving BYU -1.5. The reason I'm loving BYU, I'll make it quick because this is already a long video. I'll make this quick is because BYU's offense last season, 63% passing, 4.5 rushing attempt. They had one more touchdown than allowed. BYU's defense gave up more yards passing than rushing. And as you know, Navy is the triple option, so Navy's going to be running the ball basically the whole time. I think BYU's defense can shut down Navy. They only allowed 14 rushing touchdowns in 13 games last year, BYU. That's pretty big. That tells me when they want to lock down the run, they can. BYU was +1 in the turnover battle, which is pretty big. And BYU played Utah, Tennessee, USC, and Washington last year. 4 big teams, 4 big games. BYU is returning 62% of their defensive production from last year, and BYU's weakness is their secondary, but Navy won't be able to put any pressure on that. Now, the reason I'm not taking Navy, when a lot of people like Navy only averaged 95 passing yards a game last year. That's huge. They don't throw. They're not made to throw. They're not going to throw, which is BYU's weakness. Now, they did average 361 yards rushing, but that's the triple option. Now, why do I think Navy won't cover this game? Navy does have a good defense. I'll give them that. But Navy lost the best quarterback they have ever had on their team. Ever. He is gone. Also, what's gone is 3 starting offensive linemen. So, this team has 3 new starting linemen, 1 new starting quarterback, didn't have any spring ball, didn't have the fall game, has had limited practices, and they're trying to run the triple option. So, I see some turnovers. I see some missed coverages by the linemen. I see some fumbles. I see the quarterback not reading it right and getting sacked. BYU will definitely have the size up front and the athletic ability to put pressure on Navy. I really like BYU -1.5. The weather for this one is sunny, 10% chance of rain, and winds at 8 miles per hour. Nothing to worry about there. And my fifth one, let me see if I can find it, is going to be Army -3 now versus Middle Tennessee. So, another triple option. Army loves that. Army loves to run. Where is it? Let's see. I know I have it somewhere. Sorry about this. I should have been more prepared. But you've had 4 good bets so far. And, yeah, where is it? I know I did it. BYU Navy. Eastern Kentucky. Not talking about that one. SMU, Texas State. Middle Tennessee Army. Here we go. Army runs the triple option just like Navy, but Army didn't lose their quarterback and 3 linemen. Army's offense in 2019, 82 passing yards per game, 297 rushing yards per game. Sounds a lot like Navy. The defense only allowed 179 passing and 163 rushing. It's pretty standard. Pretty good in my eyes for a defense against Middle Tennessee. Army's offense, their passing is crap, but they did run for 5.2 yards per rushing attempt. Army's defense allowed a decent amount of passing, 4.6 yards rushing. Army's offense averaged 3.9 touchdowns and only allowed 2.9 touchdowns, so they're averaging a full touchdown more than their competition. Army's defense held 5 opponents under 100 yards rushing. Why is that big? Because these teams have no spring ball. They didn't have much fall ball. They're going to want their quarterback to get comfortable. That's going to be off the run and play action. You don't have play action if you can't run. So, Army was -1 in the turnover. Not too worried about that. Middle Tennessee averaged 236 passing, 173 rushing. The defense gave up almost 200 rushing yards per game. That's not against the triple option, and it's not a team that specializes in the run. I think Army's going to be able to run up and down the field on Middle Tennessee. I really do. Middle Tennessee's going to be able to throw, which is the only way they'll stay close in this game. But when Middle Tennessee's defense is giving up 5 yards per rushing attempt, it's going to be pretty hard. It's also, they averaged 3.3 touchdowns. They allowed 3.5 touchdowns. It's never a good stat when you're playing crap teams. And Middle Tennessee was -3 in the turnover battle. Middle Tennessee is only returning 54% of their defense production. A lot of new faces on that defense. A lot of new faces that haven't seen the triple option. A lot of new faces that don't know the full playbook yet. I think Army wins by 10. It's right now at Army -3.5. So even if Army wins by a touchdown, there's a 3.5 point cushion there. Really liking those 5. Those are the 5 I'm going to bet. I'm probably going to go bet them today. I'm probably going to straight bet and 2-game parlay some of these, my favorite 3 at the top, and we'll see what happens. Stay tuned next week, and we'll have more games for you. Diamond Gem should be on next week, and we should have a lot more games to talk about, and we'll see how this week goes. So probably Tuesday I'll do a video recap of how this week went, and then Wednesday put out the video for next week. Hopefully you got something out of this. Hopefully we can win some money together, and take care. Bye.